Bitcoin's next trade setup. Bitcoin can hit 37k or 14k, which we said in the last video, but I'm going to go into a deeper overlook in today's video. I got a main tip and trick to turn you into a pro trader like it's done for me and many of my students, which is the correlation of Bitcoin, gold and total market cap, which I'll be sharing with you in today's video. So let's get to it. What's happening, guys? My name is Dan Chung, aka Champ. I'm a verified 600k funded trader with multiple students who trade over 6 figures as well. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I approach the market, alongside with that giving you a main tip and trick to turn you into, to understand, right, and get better at trading, to learn and earn. And the main thing is basically the correlation of Bitcoin, gold and total market cap, and how you can use this information just to understand it. You don't need to have a bias, you just need to understand the information, collect lots of information from many places, and then make your own judgment from there. So let's get straight to the video, which I'm pretty excited about to do with you today. So how to recap the market. There are 3 main things that you need to take into consideration. Is number 1, we do a top-down analysis, basically using the technical charts just to kind of go from a higher time frame to a lower time frame to see the overall kind of sentiment and where we could be going. Number 2 is to look at the market info, right? So what is gold doing? What is total market cap doing? What are the indices doing? What is the overall economy doing as an overall? And then last but not least, any major macroeconomics. For example, is there another war which they're just making up, or any major kind of news that can affect the price of Bitcoin? For example, like FTX's situation, like Elon Musk tweeting it. There are many things that can affect the price, and you'll soon learn how these will work as you watch these videos time and time again, how proven there's always an excuse for price manipulation. Very interesting. Like I said, we just need to get the information and then take a very neutral and non-clouded judgment. So let's get to it. Okay, so top-down analysis. So as the name says, what we do is a quick little recap over the overall markets. I normally like to start with the weekly time frame just to see the overall weekly sentiment. So I have my main key areas drawn already, and these are basically where prices actually tested these areas to kind of show you where the next price potential movements can be. Now, if you want access to this chart, just go check us out on Twitter. I normally share these updates on the charts from there. So a main price that I want to start off with is from September in 2017. You guys probably would have known the price, maybe not the date, which is 20k Bitcoin, right? Like that was the previous all-time high. When that high was broken, it became a support. So what that is something that we talked about in a previous video, where zones are so important, is price will break a resistance and then become a support. That price area is something that we want to be aware of and be keen to understand, because when price hits that area, we are normally going to get some sort of action, whether a further drop or a further push, or just a reaction in general. And that's the first thing. We can see from the weekly time frame that the 20k mark has been held quite nicely. Then we've bounced all the way, we rejected, check that out, right? We've won 2, 3, multiple times that we rejected this 20k as a support, and then came all the way to the 30k mark. Now, the reason why I said 37 and 14k at the start of the video, with a deeper look at it, we can see that these are actually the main key levels again, which is suggesting that the price can actually come to these movements. Now remember, when I said earlier that they can actually literally just make any macroeconomic event to make this happen, we just need to be prepared for both scenarios. We don't have to say, yes, it's going to hit 38k, 14k. It doesn't matter. Our opinion doesn't matter. The market is always right. We need to be neutral. We need to be methodical and take this step by step. Now that we know 37k and 14k and the weekly has been done, let's go down a time frame. So we've done the top, which is weekly. Now we can go on to the daily. Now the first thing I can see in the daily and then the more recent time frames is that we did bounce off this 20k and we had a huge push onto the upside. This was due to the SVB bank and also just pricing rejecting that area. That's fundamental and technical put together. We've been in this consolidation period. Consolidation just generally means price ranging in that area. It's not doing much, it's not breaking lower, and it's not making higher, which is doing exactly within this yellow box. But we can see that it is slightly creeping further and further up. We've got a little bit more of an upwards momentum. We're really looking to good to break this 28k. Now, if we break this 28k, this brings me to my 2 trade setups, which I want to share with you today. Basically, if we retest this 24k, I will have a pending buy to retest this high. It's just a simple structure of retest and then a take profit. And if we break the 30k, which is what I'm much more keen on, then I would be looking for price to test the 37k here, which I've drawn through, and then potentially pull all the way back. Now, if we do break to 37k, of course I can run my take profit all the way to the top, but I do not want to do this. The reason being is because I want to secure my profits, I don't want to be greedy, and I want to stick to my plan. Now, just a recap of the plan which we made in the previous video, we want to basically have these approach to the trading zones. Are there confluences there? The zones tested in the past and are they confirmed? Moving average in favor, and the three are available, which it literally just says right there for you on the three confluences. Now, if we apply this to this chart, the moving average is in favor, we'll be retesting this zone, plus there is more than 1 to 3 up. So that is perfect. That is the setup we need. That is all we're looking for every single day. That one setup, take that 3%, because think about it, on 100k you do 3k a week is 6k every 2 weeks, and then 12k a month. That is more than enough money. There is no need to, you know, this stigma of let's be a millionaire right now. Step by step, brick by brick, you will have a wall, and step by step you will get to your destination. All right, so that's the main setups. They're the main trade setups that we have at the moment. If we go on to the lower time frame, we can go to 4 hours and 1 hour. I normally go to them when it gets closer to my setup, but right now it's a waiting game. We just want to wait for these setups to mature. Now, I'll be using Bybit for this platform, so if you guys want to go and check them out, you link in the description below. We'll be loading this up with $5,000 in the next couple of weeks, and like I said, the full plan and the risk management plan is in the other video, so check that after you finish watching this, because you want to stay tuned. Right, step number 2, which is market info. Now we've already understood where the overall market could go on the technical side of things. We just have a little bit of a recap of where market has been so far. So the overall total market cap is $1.23 trillion. This was as high, if I go all the way to this one, so this is market cap, this is the total amount of money in crypto. We can see that the total market cap at one point was 3 trillion. Now, in the grand scheme of things, just to let you know, there is $6 to $7 trillion traded every single day in the currency market. So in crypto, 3 trillion really isn't that much just as of yet. There just needs to be more adoption, there needs to be more traded volume, and just more understanding of where the overall sentiment of crypto is going. Because the bigger thing is there's a lot of scams with it, a lot of uncertainty, but the fundamentals make a lot of sense, which I talked about in the previous video of wealth and the whole SVB situation, if you want to go look into that information a little bit more later. So total market cap at the moment is only about 1.23, so we've still got plenty of room to push up. Now, if we've got plenty of room to push up, and we use this information to our trade information earlier, that also gives us a little bit extra confirmation that 37k could be possible. Makes sense? Because if total market cap has room to push, then Bitcoin could push to it because there's more money going into crypto, thus the price of crypto increasing as well. Make sense? Next up in the market info section, I'll literally just click onto Bitcoin, which you can see it's ranked number 1 because it's got the most amount of money in it. It is around 500 billion in terms of market cap, which is half of the total market cap at the moment. You can click on market cap here and click max. And if you click max, you can see that at one point, $1.25 trillion was in Bitcoin. And this is in the past. So think about it. In the future, they print money more and more in the future. Gold has a supply and demand. There is only X amount of gold, right? So price can increase as there is a lower supply and a higher demand. Bitcoin is exactly the same thing. Now, as the demand increases and there's less supply, the price will increase in favor with it as well. It's just a little bit about a long-term game, but that's just something that we have to understand for the longer term vision. For now, all we need to know is, does it have room to move up? Yes. Does it have room to move down? Also yes. So the 37k, 14k, and the trade ideas that we have are confirmed. So that's that. Next up is, I'm going to go into this in more deeper detail in another video, but I normally like to come onto like Cointelegraph or BBC News or Financial Times, and just to look if there are any major macroeconomic news. Now, one thing I just want to talk about in this section quickly is just to think, right? If there is some sort of news happening, for an example, the SVB Bank, which was the most recent one, $40 billion just went boom.
We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
That's why Bitcoin had a little bit of a price push. Now, with Bitcoin's little bit of a price push, that means people are not believing in traditional fiat as much. Money's going into the sentiment, but that doesn't always mean the case that this can continue rising. It just gives it a little bit of a boost to the current situation. So you always got to look at the news. It's like, okay, this is the news at hand. How can it affect the price? and does it agree with my overall bias? But like I said, we'll make a more in-depth video on that in a little bit later, so make sure you subscribe and see us on, I think, Thursday or Friday we'll make that video. Right, last but not least, the tips of the day. So one thing I really wanted to talk about quickly is this is a really cool thing to look at, and it's very interesting as you get into trading more and more, is if you look at Bitcoin's chart on the left hand side, we look at gold in the middle, and we look at total market cap on the right. They all look very similar, right? So let me just break it down for you. So for example, here we've had from the 11th of March onto the upwards, we've had a little bit of a push onto the upside, so literally this simple push, and then we've gone sideways. So it's kind of like an up and then a sideways. Kind of looks like an ice cream cone. Up and then sideways. It's done exactly the same thing across the board. Now, how can we use this information to our hand, and why is this important, Dan? Well, it's important because, think about it, if one of them is lagging, that means you potentially could see the future for the last one. Now, this doesn't always work, and you have to be prepared and also have the right risk, but it can help massively. So that's the tip of the day. I think it's quite important to look at the overall market, do as much research as you can, get all the information you can as an overall, summarize it, and then you can make your decision and your bias off of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We did a bit of a Bitcoin recap, you know, why 37k and 14k is important, how to approach the market as an overall, a price prediction, and then last but not least, some tips and tricks when it comes to gold, correlations, and how you could potentially use all the information to help you understand and kind of analyze and have your prediction and updates for your own trades. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. We've got plenty of content coming. We've got XRP over the next 2 videos, and then we'll come back to Bitcoin after that. And XRP is one of my favorite because I made the most amount of money on XRP. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. So wanna be champ out, and see you in the next one.